What's up, Ern? This is Prima with the Just Prima Show. Have you gone through life being unauthentic, not really knowing what works for you, not certain which direction you should go when you're trying to figure out life? You have so many obstacles, you have so many challenges, tests, ups and downs, but there is no peace. There is no help, no support, no place that feels like home, and you feel like you might be losing your mind or feel like I've stated before that, God, this must be a misfire. This was not for me. This is Prima. There must be some confusion. If you've ever felt any of those ways, please stay tuned as I share tonight to thine own self be true. The things that I have done to help me get through life to make me show up as I show up today. We'll be back in a moment.
If you think you knew me, you didn't really know it all. I've been through my shared struggles and I'm still here standing tall. Never the type to fold. If I fall, I wouldn't fear. I'm giving you all of me. This my blood, love, and tears. If you think you knew me, you didn't really know it all. I've been through my shared struggles and I'm still here standing tall. Never the type to fold. If I fall, I wouldn't fear. I'm giving you all of me. This my blood, love, and tears.
All right, y'all. Tonight I have a special guest with me that I want to share with you. Her name is Goddess Anika. I met her at a metaphysical store here in the Atlanta area. She was teaching a feminine alchemy class. When I arrived at the class, I did not know what to expect. I walked into a room. There were lots of women. I was nervous. I was excited. I had lots of anticipation. Of course, I know alchemy is to take one thing from a lower form to develop it to a better form or to a higher form. So I kind of got that, but I did not know exactly what to expect. I wasn't certain if I was going in there to do magic. I didn't know if I was going in there to actually make something with my hands from one form to another form. I just wasn't certain, but I was excited. I felt drawn to the description of the class. I felt like I was in a place that I needed to do something with my feminine energy. And to my surprise, it was much more than that. It was so exciting. It felt like home. It felt like I had known the ladies in there forever, but especially that I had known Goddess Anika. She has become my friend, my confidant, my encourager. I appreciate the relationship that I have with her. Since meeting her, I have gone to not only the feminine transformation classes at this metaphysical store, I have also signed up for some of her classes, which one is PPP. One is also CIS, which is an organization that she kind of put together, or I would say a gathering group of young ladies where we all, well, not young ladies, women, we all get together and we read books. We come up with different principles. Well, we use different principles that she introduces to us. We also facilitate these monthly meetings amongst ourselves. She has gotten us to facilitate ourselves so that she is, I want to say, like mentoring so that women can go do some of the same things that she was encouraged or blessed or purposed to do. So with that, I'm not going to tell you everything about her because I want to share her with you. So right now I'm going to introduce Goddess Anika, also known as the Pussy Prophet, and have her to first come on, introduce herself in her words. And my first question for her is going to be, what made you start the feminine empowerment work that you do? So welcome, Goddess Anika.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me, Goddess Prima. I love you and appreciate you so much. So that is a rich question. And I started this work because mainly I am a licensed ordained minister, and I was in the church for many, many years. I used to preach in the pulpit. People would call me the walking word because I knew the Bible from Genesis to Revelations. And before I became a minister, I used to work in different strip clubs around the metro Atlanta area. And my mama used to pray for my salvation. She used to be on her knees praying for my deliverance and pleading the blood of Jesus over me. And finally, I surrendered because, usually when you work in that industry, you have different experiences. And my experience is different from other women who worked in the clubs. So eventually I got tired because that life has an expiration date and all kind of things. And I got saved and I started going to church, and I became a missionary and went to Africa and did all these things, got ordained, licensed and everything. And so while I was in the church, I felt like there was something missing. Something missing. So I left the church, I want to say back in 2008. At that time, I was an active member of World Changers Church International under Pastor Creflo Dollar. And I had an experience there at that church, which really led me to leave. It was really under the inspiration of that experience where I knew that there was something else that I needed to know and learn. I knew that what I needed, because at the time I felt like Jesus was all I need. All I need was the word of God, just Jesus, 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 and I'm good. But when I had the experience at World Changers Church International, I knew that there was something, and I just didn't know what it was. And so in 2012, I got divorced from a emotionally abusive man. And I had some not so good experiences with him. But needless to say, after a traumatic divorce, at the same time, I lost my father, who died in 2012 when I was going through the divorce. I lost my job, had to move out of my house. I had all these different experiences that was just overwhelming for me, needless to say. And I found myself coping with these experiences with drugs, with antidepressants and sleeping pills and all of that. Because at the time I knew that, just pray about it. That wasn't doing it for me. Just talk to the Lord about it. That wasn't doing it for me. Pray and fast, child. That's all you need to do is pray and fast and believe God for your deliverance and your healing. That wasn't doing it for me. So after just praying and asking to be delivered from these pills, I had an experience again where after my divorce was finalized, my mom reached out to my high school sweetheart. And my high school sweetheart, she told him, she was like, Anika got divorced. Anika got divorced, so she's free. So I was living in Chicago, and he came out there and met with me for my birthday. And we had this amazing experience. And we were just like, why did we not get together then? And now we know it wasn't the time back then, because timing, divine timing is everything. And so my birthday is in September, and we spent time together. And long story short, we were married the next month over in October. And so we've been married now for 10 years. And we celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary in October of this year. And so he is my twin flame. He is the one who holds the space for me to do this work. And so when we got married, I was still dealing with this addiction to pills. And I was like, how can I get off? And he really was trying his best to support me in getting off the pills. But it was something in me where I felt that I needed them. And I guess he was praying for me too. And so one day I remember sitting on my porch and I was looking up at the sky and I was praying and asking God, like, I don't want to be this woman anymore. And I heard myself ask myself, well, what type of woman do you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know. Do I want to be a queen? Do I want to be a priestess? Do I want to be a goddess? And that word, goddess, really resonated with me. And so I started learning all I could about goddess energy. And at first, I saw like all these images of, um, really no women of color at all. They were women who didn't look like me. Um, that was like, had all the long hair and, the real small bodies and the big breasts and all this kind of stuff. That was the image of goddess that they were putting out there. And I started to pray and ask spirit, like, what is truly the goddess? What is it? Because it's not what I'm seeing online and in my research. And what was revealed to me is that the essence of a goddess or a goddess minded woman is a woman who has intimacy with the feminine aspect of God. And all my life, even when I was a little girl, I used to go to church. And then when I became a licensed ordained minister, we were always taught that, God was a he. And I never really saw many instances of the feminine in the Bible. And when there was parts of the feminine in the Bible, Esther, she had a small little piece, but all of the books in the Bible are all mainly masculine. And then when they would talk about women, it would be really small parts, like Mary Magdalene had a small part and Leah and Rachel had small parts. It was always a minimalization of the feminine. And I know that the Bible says that God is everything, and if God is everything, God is male and female, masculine and feminine. And I was like, you know, if God is everything, where is the feminine? And the word says that let us make God and let us make man in our image. So that to me, that indicated in our image and likeness. So if God is everything, God is also telling me that in this feminine embodiment that I am an image and likeness of God, which is for me also feminine. So I do believe in the masculine aspect of God. And I also believe in the feminine aspect of God, which is goddess. And I didn't really fully understand how to be a woman until I left the church. I was a very masculine female in the church. Everything I did was based on a masculine paradigm. I had no one. My mother didn't teach me how to be a woman. The church didn't teach me how to be a woman. The Bible didn't tell me how to be a woman. I had to learn when I left the church how to be a woman. And the way that I learned how to be a woman was by developing and cultivating intimacy with the feminine aspect of God. And that's what supported me in learning about pleasure and bliss and sensuality and nourishment and being delicious and sensual and sexual. That's what taught me about being a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's what taught me about really owning my orgasms and softening myself, because as a masculine woman I was always hurried and go do run hurry, and I was harsh and critical and judge. Not saying that that's the masculine way, but what I'm saying is that's how I was as a woman. I didn't understand the importance of the softness of a woman. I had to teach myself. And as a result of that, I knew that if I had to learn how to be a woman, even though I was in the church, that there may be other women with a need also to learn how to deepen their awareness of owning their sensuality and their sexuality and finding enjoyment in being a woman. And the last thing I want to say about finding enjoyment in being a woman was, for years I despised my menstrual cycle. For years I thought it was an inconvenience and something to be despised. And I felt like it was despicable and nasty, because that's one of the conditionings that the world gives us, that the woman's blood is nasty and it stinks and it's fishy and it's terrible and it's awful. But the thing about it is, many people don't understand that menstrual blood is sacred. It's the woman who bleeds every month and not die. It's the woman who, through her menstrual cycle, can hold the space to give birth to a baby and push the baby out and then bring the baby to her breast and feed it. It's the woman, it's the feminine who has that type of power. And this world, this Western culture in which we live, have conditioned us to minimize the feminine aspect of God, to see the feminine aspect of God as, useless, or and make her invisible, as if she doesn't matter. The Great Mother is here now and asking women to step into their sovereignty, to realize it's a blessing to be a woman. It's millions of people who are out here now, born male, and are transitioning into being a woman because they understand the power of the feminine. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing about it is that until we all get together collectively and establish collective consciousness and an awareness of the power of the feminine, we will continue to see, her being diminished and dehumanized and all these different things. So, women who are attracted to what I have to offer are women who desire owning their power and sovereignty as a woman. There are women who want to bring forth the awareness of the feminine aspect of God. These are women who understand the blessing to be in intimacy with the Great Mother. They honor Mother Nature, all of these things. And so it is my hope and my intent, being here tonight, that there may be some women who may resonate with what I'm saying and feel called to connect, because I love people, period. I'm here to serve. And I really love women. We it's so much wounding in the community of women, so much competition, so much comparison, so much envy and jealousy. But one of the things that the Great Mother tell us is to love yourself exactly as you are, and to embrace your own uniqueness, your own radiance. Not when you lose 20 pounds, not when you get a butt lift, not when you get a tummy tuck, but love yourself
Right
now.
now.
And once you begin to reverence and adore and appreciate the essence of her within you, within the woman, then you will no longer continue to second guess yourself and diminish the sovereignty that you have within, because you know she dwells within you. And until women receive that awareness, it will always be the cattiness and the pettiness and the backbiting and all of that, the backstabbing in the community of women. So I'm looking to connect with women who have a desire to heal that in the community of women, especially in the community of women of color, because we,
Mm-hmm.
our history with slavery and disconnection. So I want all women to, to, connect with me or whatever. But, you know, women of color, I am really calling you out to holla at your girl, because I'm going to love you and I'm going to love you hard.
What's up, It's Prima with the Just Prima Show. I look forward to seeing you every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube. Search Just Prima, JUST or Caribbean Life TV as I share my blood, love, and tears. See you then. So that leads me to my next question. That is, you briefly touched on being yummy and delicious and sensual and loving ourselves just as we are and embracing our femininity. And you started another organization, or your title, the Pussy Prophet. And I wanted to know that entailed, what what women you're drawing, what women you're drawing with that particular ministry, I would say, and that helping women. And I'm gonna say for myself, a woman, I think I'm kind of sexual or sensual, but in intimate situations, I haven't always been, based on things that happened in my past, of course. So, in going through the class and reading the books that we read in the group, they were very eye opening, and I'm okay having conversations, but and when you're in the bedroom and you're learning, and also having people around you, or a partner, and like the group with us women talking, it's important to have certain partners so that you're able to embrace that deliciousness, that yumminess, that sensuality, and sexuality, and feeling free in that. So I do want you to touch on that, since you are the pussy prophet.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that question. You asked really delicious questions, Goddess Prima. Yes, because you are a sensual woman. And thank you for that. Well, Prophet, I came up, well, it was nothing that I came up with. The Holy Spirit gave me the Pussy Prophet. When you look up the word prophet, it means teacher, an inspired teacher. And a lot of people don't know that. So some people may be thrown off by the word prophet. So my intent is to teach women about their pussy. And I abbreviate pussy as powerful, unique, sacred, sensual, and yummy. So pussy is an acronym for that. So in the program, the Pampered Pussy Project is designed to reconnect women with their power, because a lot of women lose themselves in relationships with other people. They lose themselves in their children, on their, with jobs. They just tend to lose themselves, and a lot of times they become overworked. They become over responsible. Then they over care. They do all of these, and then they get overwhelmed and they get depleted because they're over giving to so many other people, and then a lot of times forget to give and nurture themselves. And so a lot of women get burned out and depleted because of the overgiving. So it's designed for women to reclaim their power. And also it's intended for women to also step into the awareness of their own uniqueness. My thing is that, when you understand just how uniquely radiant and beautiful you are, you don't have to compete or compare yourself to any other woman.
Mhm.
It's like a sunflower and a rose trying to compete and compare themselves. They're both flowers, but they're uniquely beautiful in different ways. And so you're not going to have the rose being jealous of the sunflower, or the sunflower being jealous of the rose, because they're both beautiful. But this Western culture have conditioned us to compete and compare, and I think about beauty pageants where if it was the young lady or the woman who was the most beautiful, or the skinniest or the smartest or whatever, it was always a competition. And so we've been programmed to believe that, femininity is something to be competed and compared. But it's not. I feel like that's ridiculous, because when you really know just just how amazing you are and how beautiful you are, you know that there's nobody that can compare with you, because you are only you,
Absolutely.
a divine individualized expression of God. You. And with the sacredness, one of the things about sacred is really seeing and owning your own divinity, knowing that you are divine and human. And a lot of times we get so caught up in just being human in this third dimensional reality that we forget that we are divine. And so I support women in bringing back the awareness and remembrance that we are sacred. And when we know that we're sacred, we don't allow certain people to invade our personal space, to invade our minds, our bodies. We don't do that because we know who we are. We own our worth, we own our value, we speak our truth, we set clear boundaries. We all of that is a part of sacredness and sensuality. Most of the time, most women are always on the go, that we are not present. We're not in the present moment. We're so focused on what's next. What's next? Okay, I already done paid the bills. Now I gotta go home and wash the dishes. Gotta wash the clothes. Gotta take care of the kids. Gotta go to work. Gotta have sex with my man. Gotta do this. What's next? What's next? Instead of be here now. And so sensuality is so important for women to slow down so that you can savor the beauty of the present moment. So sensuality is really, to me, the gateway to divinity. When a woman can really be a sensual woman and really smell the roses, not just see the roses and then keep it moving. Take time, look at the rose, smell the rose, honor the rose. I don't know if I'm making sense, but you know, sensual. Taste your food. Don't just put it in your mouth and swallow it down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Prima, we talk about, when we lotion and moisturize our body, don't just be slapping lotion and moisturize. Allow yourself the spaciousness, the time, because you are worth your own time and energy. You are worth it. Like L'Oreal say, I'm worth it. You're worth it. Take the time to, nourish your body. Put the lotion on yourself slowly. Smell the lotion. When you put it on your hands, look at your hands. Some of us don't even know what our hands look like or our feet look like because we just always rushing. So, and then yummy, just um, making sure that we take care of our bodies so that when we do engage in the beauty of intimacy with another person, that we are delicious and yummy to them. So the Pr1ma project is grounded in love. First off, is grounded in love, and we journey together for 3 months, and we do deep, intense study of self and study of love of self. We work really intently with the heart chakra, because a lot of women hearts are closed due to being rejected or abandoned or physical abuse or grief, whatever. We work on opening up the heart like a rose, and once the heart is open, it is the woman is able to receive, because a lot of women have problems and difficulty receiving, and part of that difficulty of receiving is because of a closed heart. And the archetype that we work with is Goddess Oshun. And so Goddess Oshun is a goddess of love who's associated with beauty and sensuality and fertility and abundance and wealth and opulence and contentment and gratitude and intimacy and all these things. Goddess Oshun is she's a Orisha of the Yoruba tradition in West Africa. And so we will be using her as the catalyzer for us to step into deeper levels of love. So once we really learn how to make love to ourselves first, because that's what the Pamper Pussy Project is about, learning how to make love to yourself first, and not just getting a toy and a vibrator, trying to have orgasm. It's about deep intimacy with yourself. And once you learn how to cultivate deep intimacy with yourself, learn more, discover more about yourself, then you will be able to pleasure yourself first. And once you're able to do that with yourself, by yourself, then that opens up the space for you to deepen into intimacy with someone else.
I'm Prima with the Just Prima Show. Join me on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. as I unapologetically tell you my story through my eyes, giving you my blood, love, and tears. Tune in. Stay true to you. You see, I have on my green. I already said it, but I have on my green for my heart chakra. You'll see my shoes and feet later. But yeah, green, my heart chakra. So that is that. Um, Something that I thought about also while you were sharing that I did enjoy was when you were saying how we over women, sometimes women we overgive, we overdo, we go, 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 go. I did enjoy the swamping that we do, like to release energy, with the music. So I would like you to touch on that briefly. I also enjoyed when you were talking about boundaries, there was one thing that stood out for me where, and I mentioned it on a show prior to, that I said, I apologize for giving you the impression that it was okay to do blah, 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 blah. That was one principle that I also learned being in the feminine alchemy class because it allowed me to not be a tyrant, I guess, as much in my frustration when people violated or when people did things they should not have done, and particularly family members. And it allowed me to have control. And I would like for you to also briefly share about the stop principle that you came up with that also helped me to not just react in situations. For a long time I've been aware of responding to situations versus reacting. However, probably handling that more in a masculine way, and I feel like in me taking authority back and me apologizing in the offense. I apologize if I give you the impression. So that's more feminine. So it has helped me along the way. And I would like for you to, I said, a few of the things that I have learned and principles that I use. So I would like for you to brief on those and share the stop principle and share the book that you came up with your stop principle.
Okay. So yeah, with alchemy, it's about transforming, as you mentioned, transforming one form of something, a lesser form of something, into a higher form. So with the offerings that I provide to women, the intent is to transform lower vibrational energies into higher vibrational energies, meaning that when women come to me and they're dealing with issues that may be considered of lower frequency, such as bitterness, resentment, shame, guilt, grief, closed heartedness, things of that sort, then I provide tools and practices for women to transform and alchemize those energies into higher frequencies, such as love and joy and bliss and forgiveness, all of those things. So when you talk about swamping, um, I have several teachers that I learned from, and so the swamping is where we use our bodies to move and dance, and we move those lower vibrational energies out of our bodies through movement, because it's movement of the bodies that allow us to reshape the atoms and cells and molecules in our being. And so there's this one woman, I forgot her name, it's Catherine something, but this was a woman who had cancer, and she was going through her chemo treatments and things of this sort, but then she started dancing every day. I think she danced every day for like 6 months or something like that. I'm not sure how long it was. I need to find it and give it to you, Prima, because I can't remember. But she danced for like, I want to say 6 months straight. And as a result of her dancing and moving energy throughout her body, she was able to be cured of cancer. And so swamping is what I learned from one of my teachers. We call her Mama Gina. And she taught me about, that practice of when I'm experiencing rage and anger or shame or sadness or grief, I can move that energy out of my body, move it until I release something in my body, and where I'm able to let it go and be free of the feeling of it. And a lot of times we don't want to spiritually bypass these emotions. We want to be in the emotions. We want to feel them because you can't heal if you don't feel. You know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
can't heal if you don't feel. So it's important that you feel what's going on with you and you acknowledge what's going on with you, but you don't have to stay in the pit. You don't have to stay there. You realize and recognize, okay, I'm feeling this kind of way, but I provide the tool of swamping and other tools for if you want to move away from feeling those feelings and emotions, you recognize them, but you can use the movement of the body to move you into a different way of feeling, a better feeling place. And
Yes.
Abraham and Esther Hicks, they often talk about, in order for you to manifest and experience, radical manifestations, that you have to feel good. So you can't bring forth the abundance and all these things in your life if you're in the pit. And when I talk about being in the pit, I'm talking about, being in those really dark places and staying there. And again, it's not about, not being in the dark place, because there is darkness and light, and there's healing that comes from the darkness, but you have to acknowledge the darkness and be willing to come out of the darkness so that you can transcend into the light, if that makes sense. And
Yes.
swamping is something that you can do to feel better and move into that light space. And then you also talked about boundaries. When you establish clear, firm boundaries, I feel that you are becoming a friend to yourself, because oftentimes, I believe it was Maya Angelou who said that we teach people how to treat us,
Correct.
you know and if you continuously allow people to overstep your boundaries and you don't enforce them, then you're giving them the green light to continuously overstep those boundaries. And so, one of the things that we do in our community is that we learn how to establish clear, firm boundaries
Well,
in a loving way, so that people understand and know what they can and cannot do. And you don't give them the green light to treat you like you're a doormat. You don't give them the green light to just believe and think that they can just treat you any kind of way, because you've told them, this is what I would tolerate and what I would not tolerate. And if you continue to do what I've asked you not to do, then these are the consequences of what will happen as a result of your disrespect. And if they continue to cross those lines and those boundaries, you enforce what you said, and you leave, or do whatever you feel like you need to do to let them know that
right.
you're serious about those boundaries. And once people understand, like, oh, I'm not even gonna call Anika because I know that she ain't even with that foolishness, they'll begin to learn, how to
Right.
teach you, because you're training them. And so if you have a history of allowing people to just walk all over you and talk to you any kind of way, one of my other